The universe is more than stars twinkling in the night sky. It's a place of unimaginable extremes and mysteries that defy everything we think we know. In just the past few decades, astronomers have stumbled upon discoveries so shocking, so unexpected, that they've completely reshaped our understanding of reality. From celestial objects dense enough to crush a mountain into dust, to cosmic beacons brighter than entire galaxies, to monsters that swallow light itself. Every revelation has brought us one step closer to unlocking the secrets of the cosmos. And in this video, we're exploring some of the most astonishing and mind-bending of them all: neutron stars, pulsars, quasars, and black holes. Phenomena so strange they sound like science fiction, yet they are as real as the stars above us. So buckle up, because the journey ahead will take us to the very edge of physics and beyond. And if you're ready to explore the terrifying beauty of the universe with me, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, so you never miss a chance to journey deeper into the mysteries of space. The universe is vast, filled with billions upon billions of galaxies, each containing countless stars, planets, and nebulae. And when we look up at the night sky, we tend to think of space as a glittering canvas of endless lights. But lurking out there is something far stranger and far more unsettling than we can easily comprehend: the Boötes Void. A region so large and so empty that it has been called the Great Nothing, a cosmic desert unlike anything else we've discovered. It was in the 1980s, when astronomers were mapping the large-scale structure of the cosmos, that they stumbled upon this terrifying anomaly, a patch of sky in the constellation Boötes, where galaxies seemed to vanish, and what they found defied expectations. Instead of a region rich with thousands of galaxies, as one would statistically expect, they saw almost nothing at all, a yawning emptiness stretching across an area of space that is about 330 million light-years wide. To put that into perspective, our Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light-years across, meaning you could line up more than 3,000 Milky Ways end to end and still not fill the Boötes Void. And if you were traveling at the speed of light, it would take you hundreds of millions of years to get from one side to the other. Yet, in all that unimaginable distance, there are only a few dozen lonely galaxies, scattered like isolated lighthouses in a boundless ocean of darkness. The eeriest part is that the Boötes Void should contain about 10,000 galaxies if the universe were evenly distributed, but instead it's nearly barren, making it an anomaly, a strange absence in a cosmos that otherwise teems with structure and life. Now imagine for a moment what it would be like to exist inside one of those galaxies trapped within this void. Here on Earth, when we look at the night sky, we see a band of stars, glowing clusters, and the faint smudge of the Milky Way stretching across the heavens. But if you lived in a galaxy floating in the Boötes Void, your sky would be terrifyingly empty. You might look out and see a handful of faint galaxies dotting the blackness, but beyond that, nothing. No glowing cosmic neighbors, no bustling clusters of galaxies, no bright galactic core nearby to remind you that you are part of something larger. To civilizations living there, if they exist, it might seem as though the universe itself is almost empty, as though they are truly alone in the vastness of space, surrounded by an unbroken ocean of blackness. This thought alone is chilling, but it becomes even stranger when we consider how this vast emptiness came to be. Astronomers suggest that voids are normal features of the universe. Galaxies form along filaments of matter, leaving gaps in between, much like the bubbles in a foam. But the Boötes Void is not just a gap. It is an extreme, a colossal chasm that defies the neat patterns our models predict. Some theories propose that it could be the result of smaller voids merging over billions of years, leaving behind a supervoid. Others whisper more exotic possibilities, such as it being evidence of a collision between our universe and another, a bruise left over from a cosmic interaction beyond our understanding. And then there are the darker, more speculative ideas, the ones that give the Boötes Void an almost horror-like aura. What if something once filled that space and something else consumed it? These notions are not mainstream science, but the size and emptiness of the void invite unsettling questions that tug at the human imagination. Picture yourself as an explorer venturing into this cosmic abyss aboard a spacecraft setting out across the vastness. Days pass, then weeks, then months, and still, out the windows, there is nothing but blackness. Even the strongest telescopes show almost nothing in any direction. No glowing galaxies, no supernovae, no glittering stellar nurseries, just an oppressive silence stretching across hundreds of millions of light years. In the normal universe, even when you look at a seemingly dark patch of sky, powerful telescopes like Hubble reveal thousands of galaxies crammed into a single frame. But here, the silence remains. The emptiness presses in on you. The psychological toll of drifting in such a place would be unbearable, because it is not just distance that separates you from the nearest stars and galaxies. It is isolation on a scale the human mind can scarcely process. And yet this haunting void is not just a curiosity, it is important for science. Studying voids helps astronomers test theories about dark matter and dark energy, the invisible forces that dominate the cosmos. Voids are laboratories of nothingness, places where the absence of matter reveals how gravity sculpts the universe. And in a strange way, the Boötes Void offers us a glimpse of the possible future. If dark energy continues to accelerate the expansion of the universe, then billions and billions of years from now, galaxies will drift so far apart that each one becomes an isolated island, cut off from all the others by ever-growing gulfs of emptiness. One day, the entire universe may resemble the Boötes Void, endless black expanses where galaxies are alone, each one shining faintly in the dark, unaware of any neighbors beyond their reach. In that distant future, the void will not be an anomaly. It will be the rule, a universal loneliness that swallows everything. And so, when we look at the Boötes Void today, we are not just staring into a cosmic desert, we are gazing into a possible mirror of the universe's fate, a preview of the great silence that may one day consume all light, all warmth, all connection. And the Boötes Void terrifies not because of violence or destruction, but because of what it represents, a scale of emptiness that dwarfs the human spirit, a reminder that in the cosmic story there are chapters written not in brilliance and light, but in silence and nothingness. And perhaps that is the most horrifying discovery of all, that in the vast theatre of the universe there are places where the play never began, where the stage was built but the actors never came, where the curtain rises only to reveal a void, a vast and eternal nothing. Drifting through the cold, endless dark of the galaxy are worlds unlike any other, lonely wanderers that have been cast adrift, traveling with no parent star to call home, no warm sunlight to bathe their skies, no familiar orbit to provide rhythm or stability, and these strange and terrifying places are known as rogue planets. Unlike the planets we know, which orbit their stars in neat gravitational dances, rogue planets are wanderers, free-floating orbs of rock, ice, and sometimes gas, that drift silently through interstellar space, invisible in the void, unmoored and alone. Scientists first theorized their existence decades ago, but recent studies have confirmed that they are not only real, they may number in the billions, perhaps even trillions, scattered throughout our galaxy. That means there may be as many rogue planets as there are stars in the Milky Way, a haunting realization when you think about the sheer scale of their population. These worlds are terrifying because they are almost completely invisible, shrouded in eternal darkness, detectable only when they briefly betray their presence through gravitational effects or faint heat signatures. Imagine Earth suddenly flung from its orbit, cast into the abyss with no sun to anchor it, no dawns, no sunsets, only eternal night, and you begin to understand what life on a rogue planet might be like. The story of how these planets become homeless is as tragic as it is violent. Many are born in young star systems, just like Earth, circling around their suns in the chaos of formation. But in those crowded and unstable early days, the gravitational tugs of larger planets or stars sometimes eject smaller worlds outward, flinging them into interstellar space like cosmic castaways. Others may once have been part of binary star systems, where a second star's death or disruption slings its planets free. Still others may have formed entirely in isolation, never bound to a star at all, born in the darkness with no parent light to illuminate them. However they came to be, rogue planets are destined for a lonely existence, wandering without purpose, without destination, endlessly falling through the galaxy's darkness. The horrifying part is that some of these wanderers could pass dangerously close to solar systems like ours. One might drift silently past the edge of our Oort cloud, or worse, sweep into the inner solar system, disturbing planetary orbits, tugging at Earth with invisible gravitational fingers, or perhaps colliding with a planet entirely. The odds are low in any given moment, but given enough time, the threat becomes inevitable, because rogue planets are everywhere, lurking unseen. But perhaps the eeriest part of rogue planets is imagining what they would feel like up close. If you could stand on the surface of such a world, you would see nothing but blackness in every direction. No sunrise, no stars bright enough to guide you, only the faint glimmers of distant galaxies, cold and unreachable. The atmosphere, if there even is one, would be frozen solid without sunlight to warm it. The oceans turned to ice, the land a wasteland of frost and shadow. Yet, and this is where things become even more chilling, some rogue planets might still harbor life. How, you ask? Do life exist on a world without a sun? The answer lies deep underground, where geothermal heat from the planet's core could keep subsurface oceans liquid, much like Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's Enceladus. Life there would not see the stars, nor know the warmth of sunlight. It would live in perpetual darkness, feeding on chemical energy, perhaps never aware of the wider cosmos. If such life exists, it would be the loneliest life in the universe, clinging to warmth in a world cast adrift, doomed to wander eternally in the abyss. From a scientific perspective, rogue planets are fascinating because they challenge our assumptions about habitability and the abundance of life in the cosmos. If billions of these worlds exist, then there may be more potential abodes for life than we ever imagined, but they would be the strangest homes imaginable. Frozen globes, lit not by stars but by geothermal vents. Civilizations, if they ever arose, might never even suspect that stars and galaxies exist beyond their icy skies. The psychological horror of that thought is profound. Imagine a civilization growing in isolation on a rogue planet, never seeing the stars, never knowing that other worlds exist, believing their universe is nothing more than endless blackness, only to one day learn that they are merely a castaway in a much larger sea of light that has always been hidden from them. To us, rogue planets are alien and terrifying. To them, we, bathed in sunlight and starlight, would be equally unimaginable. Now imagine traveling through space and encountering one of these wanderers. Your spacecraft drifts silently across the void, and suddenly, in the darkness ahead, a massive silhouette looms. A planet, cold, dead, and black against the backdrop of the stars. You might not even notice it until you're almost upon it, because rogue planets give off so little light that they are tightly invisible until the last moment. Landing on such a world would be like stepping onto the corpse of a planet, a place where time itself has stopped, where the cycle of day and night has been erased, where silence is unbroken except by the sound of your own breath. And you might ask yourself, how many of these ghosts of planets are passing by right now, undetected, just a few light years away, hidden in the black? The existence of rogue planets also forces us to confront the fragility of our own place in the cosmos. Earth orbits safely around the sun, but this stability is not guaranteed forever. What if in some distant future, Earth were ejected from the solar system by a catastrophic gravitational encounter? What if our home became a rogue planet, cast into eternal darkness? Human civilization would collapse as temperatures plummeted, the oceans froze, and photosynthesis ceased. The survivors, if any, would retreat underground, clinging to geothermal heat, living in artificial caverns lit by fire and machines, while above them, Earth wandered silently through the cold dark forever. In that way, rogue planets are not just alien, they are a glimpse of our own possible fate, a mirror of what might happen to any world given enough time. And so, when we think of the horrors of space, we often imagine violent explosions, deadly radiation, or the crushing pull of black holes. But rogue planets offer a different kind of horror, the horror of silence, of exile, of eternal wandering. They are reminders that not all dangers are loud and dramatic. Some horrors creep quietly, drifting unseen through the night, waiting to brush past us in the dark. Somewhere out there, billions of worlds float without purpose, waiting in the void, each one a lonely traveler, a ghost planet forever searching for a home it will never find. And perhaps the most unsettling thought of all is this: right now, as you listen to these words, days, one of those worlds could be passing near us, hidden in the black, unseen, unheard, a silent wanderer in the darkness, proof that in the vastness of space, even planets can be lost souls. In the darkest reaches of the cosmos lurk monsters unlike anything the human imagination could invent, creatures so powerful and so terrifying that they warp the very fabric of reality itself, invisible predators waiting in the blackness of space. And these are the black holes, the ultimate destroyers of worlds, the cosmic beasts that turn everything everything they touch into nothing. Born from the death of massive stars, black holes form when a star many times the size of our sun burns through its nuclear fuel and collapses under the weight of its own gravity, falling inward until all matter is crushed into an infinitesimal point of infinite density called a singularity, surrounded by a boundary known as the event horizon, the line that marks the point of no return. Once something crosses that horizon, whether it's a planet, a star, or even light itself, it is gone forever, swallowed whole by the black hole's insatiable pull. They are invisible to the eye, detectable only by the violence they leave in their wake, by the way they bend starlight, twist space-time, and tear apart anything unlucky enough to wander too close. To imagine what it would be like to approach one is to imagine the closest thing to hell that exists in the universe. The most horrifying thing about black holes is not just their power, but their silence. For unlike a supernova which blazes across the galaxy, a black hole makes no sound, no flash, no announcement of its existence. It simply lurks, waiting, and if one were drifting through space nearby, we might not know until it was far too late. Some are small, the remnants of stars, while others are supermassive, containing the mass of millions or even billions of suns, sitting at the centers of galaxies, including our own Milky Way, where a monster named Sagittarius A resides, quietly pulling stars into orbit like a spider at the heart of a galactic web. These giants feed on matter, ripping gas and stars apart, and when they devour too greedily, they unleash jets of energy so bright they can be seen from across the universe, yet at their heart remains a darkness that no light escapes. Imagine falling into one. As you approach, you would feel tidal forces pulling harder on your feet than your head, stretching you out into a thin, twisted thread in a process scientists call spaghettification. Time itself would begin to warp. To an outside observer, your fall would seem to slow, your image frozen at the edge of the event horizon, while for you, time would continue normally until the moment you were torn apart and lost forever. And yet the deeper terror lies not just in what black holes do, but in what they represent. These cosmic monsters defy the very laws of physics as we know them. At the singularity, our understanding of space and time breaks down. The equations of general relativity no longer make sense, and quantum physics cannot yet explain what happens in that abyss. It is a place where reality itself dissolves, where the rules of existence are rewritten, and perhaps where new universes could even be born. Some scientists theorize that black holes may act as gateways, wormholes to other regions of space, or even to other universes, though no one knows for certain, because nothing, no signal, no message ever returns from within. They are mysteries wrapped in terror, windows into the unknown, and the fact that they are real makes them far more frightening than any monster from myth. But black holes are not just cosmic curiosities, they are predators that roam the galaxy. Some are stationary, anchored at galactic centers, but others are wanderers, rogue black holes drifting through the Milky Way after being kicked away from their host galaxies by cosmic collisions. Imagine an invisible killer with the mass of ends of suns silently moving through space, and if such a thing passed near our solar system, it could fling planets from their orbits, devour the sun, or swallow Earth whole without warning. Scientists estimate there may be as many as 100 million black holes in our galaxy alone, most of them hidden, unseen, waiting in the dark. The knowledge that these monsters exist, scattered all around us, is horrifying in its own right, for it means we are never entirely safe, even here. Now picture what it would be like to orbit close to a black hole. You're aboard a spacecraft skimming the edge of the event horizon. Outside your window, the stars begin to bend and twist into strange arcs of light, distorted by the black hole's gravity into a glowing halo called an accretion disk. Gas and dust swirl at near light speeds, heating to millions of degrees, radiating X-rays and gamma rays as they spiral toward oblivion. The sight would be both magnificent and terrifying, a whirlpool of light feeding into a pit of darkness that no force in the universe can resist. You know that if you drift even a little too close, your ship will be caught, and there will be no escape, no rescue, no way back, only a silent plunge into the abyss. This is not science fiction, this is reality, and somewhere, right now, these feeding grounds of death are devouring stars and planets. And yet, as terrifying as they are, black holes may also play a crucial role in the structure of the universe. Their immense gravity helps shape galaxies, pulling stars into their orbits and influencing cosmic evolution. comprehension. Without them, galaxies like the Milky Way might never have formed as we know them. They are destroyers, yes, but also creators in a way, sculptors of the cosmos, whose violence gave rise to order. Still, their dual nature does not make them any less frightening. They are reminders that the universe is not a fee or gentle place. It is a place of extremes, of forces beyond comprehension, and black holes are the most extreme of all. The horror of black holes is layered, the fear of being consumed, the fear of the unknown, the fear of annihilation, and perhaps most of all the fear that they remind us of our own fragility. Our planet orbits safely around a star, and our star lies comfortably in a galaxy, but out there are monsters capable of unmaking it all, silently, invisibly, without effort. And so, when you look into the night sky and admire the stars, remember that scattered among them are cosmic predators, dark beasts that feed on light and matter, guardians of secrets that may never be revealed. To gaze into the black hole is to gaze into the ultimate abyss, a place where reality itself is devoured. And maybe, just maybe, the most horrifying part is this: black holes are not rare, not distant myths, but real, abundant, and everywhere, proving that in the cosmic wilderness, the monsters are not in our imaginations, they are out there, waiting. In the darkest reaches of the cosmos lurk monsters unlike anything the human imagination could invent, creatures so powerful and so terrifying that they warp the very fabric of reality itself. Invisible predators waiting in the blackness of space, and these are the black holes, the ultimate destroyers of worlds, the cosmic beasts that turn everything they touch into nothing. Born from the death of massive stars, black holes form when a star, many times the size of our sun, burns through its nuclear fuel and collapses under the weight of its own gravity, falling inward until all matter is crushed into an infinitesimal point of infinite density called a singularity, surrounded by a boundary known as the event horizon, the line that marks the point of no return. Once something crosses that horizon, whether it's a planet, a star, or even light itself, it is gone forever, swallowed whole by the black hole's insatiable pull. They are invisible to the eye, detect. Table only by the violence they leave in their wake, by the way they bend starlight, twist space-time, and tear apart anything unlucky enough to wander too close. To imagine what it would be like to approach one is to imagine the closest thing to hell that exists in the universe. The most horrifying thing about black holes is not just their power, but their silence. For unlike a supernova, which blazes across the galaxy, a black hole makes no sound, no flash, no announcement of its existence. It simply lurks, waiting. And if one were drifting through space nearby, we might not know until it was far too late. Some are small, the remnants of stars, while others are supermassive, containing the mass of millions or even billions of suns, sitting at the centers of galaxies, including our own Milky Way, where a monster named Sagittarius A resides, quietly pulling stars into orbit like a spider at the heart of a galactic web. These giants feed on matter, ripping gas and stars apart, and when they devour too greedily, they unleash jets of energy so bright they can be seen from across the universe, yet at their heart remains a darkness that no light escapes. Imagine falling into one. As you approach, you would feel tidal forces pulling harder on your feet than your head, stretching you out into a thin, twisted thread in a process scientists call spaghettification. Time itself would begin to warp. To an outside observer, your fall would seem to slow, your image frozen at the edge of the event horizon, while for you, time would continue normally until the moment you were torn apart and lost forever. And yet the deeper terror lies not just in what black holes do, but in what they represent. These cosmic monsters defy the very laws of physics as we know them. At the singularity, our understanding of space and time breaks down. The equations of general relativity no longer make sense, and quantum physics cannot yet explain what happens in that abyss. It is a place where reality itself dissolves, where the rules of existence are rewritten, and perhaps where new universes could even be born. Some scientists theorize that black holes may act as gateways, wormholes to other regions of space or even to other universes, though no one knows for certain because nothing, no signal, no message, ever returns from within. They are mysteries wrapped in terror, windows into the unknown, and the fact that they are real makes them far more frightening than any monster from myth. But black holes are not just cosmic curiosities, they are predators that roam the galaxy. Some are stationary, anchored at galactic centers, but others are wanderers, rogue black holes drifting through the Milky Way after being kicked away from their host galaxies by cosmic collisions. Imagine an invisible killer with the mass of millions of suns, silently moving through space. And if such a thing passed near our solar system, it could fling planets from their orbits, devour the sun, or swallow Earth whole without warning. Scientists estimate there may be as many as 100 million black holes in our galaxy alone, most of them hidden, unseen, waiting in the dark. The knowledge that these monsters exist, scattered all around us, is horrifying in its own right, for it means we are never entirely safe, even here. Now picture what it would be like to orbit close to a black hole. You are aboard a spacecraft skimming the edge of the event horizon. Outside your window, the stars begin to bend and twist into strange arcs of light, distorted by the black hole's gravity into a glowing halo called an accretion disk. Gas and dust swirl at near-light speeds, heating to millions of degrees, radiating X-rays and gamma rays as they spiral toward oblivion. The sight would be both magnificent and terrifying, a whirlpool of light feeding into a pit of darkness that no force in the universe can resist. You know that if you drift even a little too close, your ship will be caught, and there will be no escape, no rescue, no way back, only a silent plunge into the abyss. This is not science fiction, this is reality, and somewhere right now these feeding grounds of death are devouring stars and planets. And yet, as terrifying as they are, black holes may also play a crucial role in the structure of the universe. Their immense gravity helps shape galaxies, pulling stars into their orbits and influencing cosmic evolution. Without them, galaxies like the Milky Way might never have formed as we know them. They are destroyers, yes, but also creators in a way, sculptors of the cosmos whose violence gave rise to order. Still, their dual nature does not make them any less frightening. They are reminders that the universe is not a safe or gentle place. It is a place of extremes, of forces beyond comprehension, and black holes are the most extreme of all. The horror of black holes is layered: the fear of being consumed, the fear of the unknown, the fear of annihilation, and perhaps most of all, the fear that they remind us of our own fragility. Our planet orbits safely around a star, and our star lies comfortably in a galaxy, but out there are monsters capable of unmaking it all, silently, invisibly, without effort. And so when you look into the night sky and admire the stars, remember that scattered among them are cosmic predators, dark beasts that feed on light and matter, guardians of secrets that may never be revealed. To gaze into the black hole is to gaze into the ultimate abyss, a place where reality itself is devoured. And maybe, just maybe, the most horrifying part is this: black holes are not rare, not distant myths, but real, abundant, and everywhere, proving that in the cosmic wilderness, the monsters are not in our imaginations, they are out there, waiting. In the grand tapestry of the universe, galaxies do not sit still like stars painted on a canvas, but instead drift, collide, and swirl together in vast clusters, following the invisible flow of gravity. And yet, when astronomers began to measure the movements of galaxies in the 1970s, they found something strange and profoundly unsettling. The Milky Way, along with thousands of other galaxies in our cosmic neighborhood, was moving in the same direction at astonishing speeds, as though being pulled by some unseen force, and the mysterious destination toward which everything was flowing became known as the Great Attractor. Imagine an invisible hand, vast beyond comprehension, tugging not only at our galaxy, but at entire clusters of galaxies, dragging them silently toward a hidden point in the sky, and no one knows exactly what it is. When scientists tried to look directly at the region, they found it obscured behind the thick band of the Milky Way, hidden B. Dust, stars and gas, making it nearly impossible to see clearly, and this only added to the terror for what could be powerful enough to move thousands of galaxies, yet remain unseen. The scale of this pull is staggering. Our Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy, and the rest of the galaxies in what we call the local group are all hurtling toward the Great Attractor at speeds of nearly 600 kilometers per second, an irresistible current in the river of space-time. To imagine what this means is to realize that we, our planet, our solar system, our entire galaxy, are not free-floating in space, but are being dragged towards something vast and unknown, and we are powerless to stop it. At first, scientists thought the Great Attractor might be a supermassive cluster of galaxies, a gravitational anchor hidden behind the Milky Way's dust, but the more they studied it, the stranger it became. Observations showed that the pull was far too strong to be explained by visible matter alone, suggesting something more massive, more mysterious, lurked there. Some astronomers concluded that the Great Attractor was part of an even larger structure, a supercluster of galaxies we now call Laniakea, a cosmic continent containing more than 100,000 galaxies, with the Great Attractor as its gravitational heart. But even this explanation does not remove the unease, for what lies within Laniakea's depths is still partly invisible, hidden behind what astronomers ominously call the zone of avoidance, the region of sky so cluttered by our own galaxies, stars and gas that we cannot see through it. This veil of mystery leaves open haunting possibilities. Could the Great Attractor be nothing more than the gravitational center of mass of an enormous supercluster, or could it be something stranger, something beyond our current understanding of physics, perhaps even a glimpse of dark matter or dark energy shape-in? The cosmos in ways we cannot yet grasp. To imagine the Great Attractor is to imagine being caught in a current without knowing where it leads. Picture yourself on a raft in a vast dark ocean, the current pulling you inexorably towards something you cannot see, something hidden behind fog, and all you know is that it is massive, it is powerful, and it is swallowing everything in your direction. This is what our galaxy is experiencing right now, pulled relentlessly toward the unseen heart of the cosmos. And though the journey will take billions of years, the knowledge alone is chilling, because it means our place in the universe is not fixed. It is caught in the grip of something larger than we can comprehend. The horror lies not in destruction, but in inevitability, the certainty that we are being drawn toward an unseen destiny, unable to resist, unable to know what awaits us there. Some fringe thinkers have taken the mystery further, speculating wildly that the Great Attractor could be something truly exotic, perhaps the effect of another universe brushing against ours, its gravity leaking into our reality. Perhaps a colossal concentration of dark matter, invisible yet impossibly dense, or perhaps even something beyond matter entirely, a rupture in the fabric of space-time, pulling everything toward it like a cosmic drain. While mainstream science does not embrace these ideas, the very existence of the Great Attractor inspires such imagination, because it is a force both real and invisible, measurable and yet hidden, undeniable and yet mysterious. It is a reminder that the universe is still largely unknown, and that even on the grandest scales we do not fully understand what shapes our fate. Imagine what it would feel like to live in a galaxy closer to the Great Attractor, to look at the night sky and see other galaxies rushing past, the entire heavens flowing in one direction, a silent migration of cosmic lands toward a destination no one can see. For those civilizations, if any exist, the pull would be even stronger, their sense of inevitability even greater. And yet, from their perspective, we too would be part of the flow, part of the great river of galaxies heading into the unknown, all of us caught in the same tide. This shared journey is both humbling and terrifying, because it means that no matter how advanced a civilization becomes, no matter how much knowledge or power it gains, it cannot fight the gravity of the cosmos itself. The Great Attractor also forces us to confront the limits of human perception. We are used to thinking of our planet as home, our solar system as safe, our galaxy as vast and stable, but discoveries like this reveal that even galaxies are not stationary. They are pulled like leaves in a cosmic storm, part of flows and structures so immense that our minds struggle to grasp them. The universe is not a quiet, still expanse, but a dynamic, shifting web of motion, and at the center of this motion lie mysteries like the Great Attractor, invisible titans whose influence we cannot escape. The true horror, then, is not that we are being dragged toward destruction, but that we are being dragged towards something we cannot yet define, something unseen, something hidden behind the curtain of our own galaxy. And so when you look up at the night sky and see the stars glittering peacefully, remember this: all of them, along with the Milky Way itself, are moving together, rushing through space toward an unseen destination, pulled by a force vast enough to redirect the paths of hundreds of thousands of galaxies. We are not anchored, not fixed, not free. We are caught, all of us, in the grasp of the Great Attractor, a mystery that lies billions of light years away, hidden, silent, and immense. Perhaps one day we will pierce the veil and discover its true nature, but until then, it remains one of the most horrifying discoveries in space. The knowledge that we are not drifting aimlessly, but are being pulled inexorably toward an unknown fate, bound to a cosmic journey that none of us can escape. In the universe, death is supposed to be the final chapter of a star's life, a predictable end written in the language of physics, and yet astronomers have discovered certain stars that seem to defy this rule, stars that explode in massive supernovae, releasing more energy in moments than our sun will produce in its entire lifetime, only to mysteriously refuse to die, reigniting and continuing to shine in a cycle of violent rebirth. And these strange, haunting objects are known as zombie stars. Normally, when a massive star reaches the end of its life, it collapses under its own gravity and detonates in a brilliant supernova, leaving behind either a dense neutron star or a black hole, the remnants of its once mighty core, while its outer layers scatter into space to seed the cosmos with heavy elements. This is supposed to be the end, a fiery death marking the star's final act, but in recent years, scientists have witnessed stars that do not stay dead, stars that have erupted not once but multiple times, in what can only be described as stellar resurrection. One of the most famous please is the star IPTF 14HLs, which exploded in a supernova in the 1950s, was recorded by astronomers, and then, astonishingly, erupted again in 2014, decades later, continuing to shine and pulse with violent energy as though it had somehow reanimated itself. For a star to explode more than once is supposed to be impossible, and yet there it was, a ghost of a star, glowing in defiance of death, rewriting everything we thought we knew about the life cycle of the cosmos. The horror of zombie stars lies not only in their defiance of physics, but in the sheer unpredictability they represent. For centuries, humanity has comforted itself with the idea that the universe is governed by rules, stable, dependable laws of nature that dictate how stars are born, live, and die. But when a star that should be dead reignites and refuses to rest, it challenges our very understanding of reality, reminding us that the universe is far stranger, far more chaotic, and perhaps far less predictable than we believe. Some scientists think zombie stars may be the result of unusual internal structures, with massive amounts of hydrogen falling back onto their cores, reigniting fusion after an explosion. Others suggest they may be stars so massive that their outer layers collapse inward and then rebound multiple times before truly dying. And still others wonder if we are witnessing something entirely new, something never before imagined, a stellar phenomenon that has no explanation in current astrophysics. Whatever the cause, the effect is chilling. Stars that refuse to stay buried, cosmic revenants that haunt the sky with their undead glow. Imagine living on a planet orbiting such a star. You might see the sky erupt in blinding brilliance as your sun detonates in what appears to be its final death throes, scorching your world, blasting your atmosphere, and erasing all life in fire, you would believe. The end had come, your star collapsing into oblivion. But then, decades later, against all odds, it would shine again, glowing faintly at first, then burning bright once more, as if mocking the laws of life and death themselves. Would such a star be a blessing, granting its worlds more time, or would it be a curse, doomed to repeat cycles of violent death that destroy everything in its orbit again and again? To civilizations living under such a sky, the heavens themselves would appear haunted, their very sun behaving like an undead monster, unpredictable, terrifying, and unstoppable. Zombie stars are not confined to IPTF 14HLs. Astronomers have catalogued other strange cases, stars that seem to explode multiple times, that fade and brighten unexpectedly, that live far longer than they should after their apparent deaths. Each discovery adds to the unease, for it means these undead stars are not rare. They may be a recurring feature of the universe, hiding in plain sight, waiting to reveal their strange cycles of death and resurrection. The universe, already filled with voids, black holes, and cosmic violence, now shows us that even death itself is not always permanent, that some stars claw their way back from the grave, glowing defiantly like celestial phantoms. From a scientific perspective, zombie stars are opportunities, windows into processes we do not yet understand, laboratories of extreme physics that challenge our models and force us to ask new questions. But from a human perspective, they are terrifying, because they strip away the comfort of predictability, replacing it with uncertainty. If stars can cheat death, what else in the universe might break the rules we hold sacred? What other horrors lurk in the dark, waiting to reveal themselves as exceptions to the laws we thought unbreakable? The existence of zombie stars is a reminder that the cosmos is not only stranger than we imagine, it may be stranger than we can imagine. And perhaps that is the true horror, not that these stars exist, but that they suggest our knowledge of the universe is incomplete, that even phenomena we believed we understood, life and death on a cosmic scale, can surprise us with anomalies that defy explanation. They show us that the universe is alive with mysteries, some of them benign, others potentially catastrophic. And we are still children, looking up at a night sky filled with secrets. The stars, once symbols of constancy and guidance, are revealed to be unpredictable, haunted, and sometimes undead, and that realization shakes the foundations of our cosmic understanding. So when you gaze up at the night sky and see the twinkling lights of distant suns, remember this: some of those stars may not be alive in the way you think, nor dead in the way you expect. Some may be zombies, stars that have cheated death, stars that have erupted, collapsed, and yet returned, undead giants haunting the heavens with their glow. They are reminders that in space, nothing is ever as simple as it seems, and even the eternal cycle of life and death can be broken by phenomena so strange, so eerie, and so horrifying that they make the universe feel less like a clockwork machine and more like a haunted house, where the dead refuse to stay buried, and the night sky itself hides the restless ghosts of stars that should have died long ago. When we think about the horrors of the cosmos, we often imagine black holes devouring stars or rogue planets wandering in eternal night. But perhaps the greatest terrors of all are not singular monsters or events, but the overwhelming truths that define the very fabric of existence, truths that stretch from the invisible forces surrounding us to the runaway stars fleeing their homes, all the way to the inevitable doom of the universe itself. And together, these last three discoveries, dark matter, and dark energy, hypervelocity stars, and the ultimate fate of the cosmos, form a trilogy of cosmic horror that dwarfs every other nightmare. To begin with, consider this: everything you can see, every star in the night sky, every galaxy glimpsed by telescopes, every planet, asteroid, and atom, all the light and matter that has ever existed and that you have ever known, makes up less than 5% of the universe. The rest, 95% of reality, is invisible, untouchable, unknowable, and yet it controls everything. This invisible realm is divided into two entities: dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter, though unseen, reveals itself by its gravity, holding galaxies together like invisible glue, keeping stars from flying apart as they whirl at impossible speeds. Without it, galaxies would not exist, stars would not cluster, and perhaps life would never have formed. And yet, despite its dominance, we do not know what it is made of. It is not atoms, not light, not anything we can touch. It is something entirely alien, surrounding us, passing through us every moment, and we cannot detect it directly. Imagine the air around you suddenly revealed to be filled with ghosts, unseen presences shaping everything you do, everything you are. And you begin to understand the unease dark matter inspires. More terrifying still is dark energy, a force even more dominant, driving the accelerated expansion of the universe, pushing galaxies apart faster and faster, stretching space-time itself. It is the reason the universe will not slow down, but will keep expanding, and yet we have no idea what it is, only that it makes up nearly 70% of everything. Think about that. Our entire existence is dictated by an invisible, unexplained pressure expanding reality at an ever-increasing rate. We live in a universe ruled by shadows, by forces that neither light nor matter can explain, forces we cannot touch, forces that may one day decide the fate of all things. That alone is horrifying, because it means we are not masters of the cosmos, nor even passive observers. We are prisoners of unknown rulers, trapped in a universe whose laws we barely understand, surrounded by invisible giants pulling the strings of creation. And yet even this is only the beginning of the terror, for beyond the invisible forces shaping galaxies lie the runaway stars that remind us of the violence of existence, stars hurled through space at unimaginable speeds, flung from their homes like cosmic fugitives. These hypervelocity stars, traveling millions of miles per hour, are created in moments of cataclysm. When binary systems stray too close to black holes, one star is captured and consumed, while the other is hurled outward like a slingshot, doomed to race forever through interstellar space. Others are launched during galactic collisions, ejected by gravitational chaos, so extreme that they are expelled entirely from their host galaxies, left to wander the void between galactic clusters, suns without homes, carrying any planets they once hosted into the endless dark. Imagine living on a planet orbiting such a star. You would never know it, not at first, but over eons your sky would change. The familiar stars of your galaxy would slowly stretch into strange patterns, until one day the Milky Way itself would vanish from view, left behind as your sun carried you into intergalactic emptiness. The stars would thin, the night sky growing emptier with every passing millennium, until at last you were alone, your star a lone wanderer in the black between galaxies, exiled forever. This is not fantasy, it is reality for countless stars already fleeing across the universe, doomed to eternal exile by encounters with black holes or galactic collisions. They are reminders that even suns, the symbols of stability and warmth, can be turned into ghosts, fleeing endlessly without ever finding rest. The horror of hyper-velocity stars is not just their speed or violence, it is their loneliness, the image of suns and their worlds hurtling into darkness, forever cut off from the galaxies that birthed them, their light shining pointlessly into the abyss. And yet, as terrifying as invisible rulers and fleeing stars may be, they pale in comparison to the ultimate horror, the end of the universe itself. For all things end, stars die, galaxies fade, and even the cosmos itself is doomed to one of several bleak fates, each as horrifying as the last. One possibility is the Big Crunch, in which the expansion of the universe slows and reverses, gravity pulling everything back together until galaxies collide, stars shatter, and all matter collapses into a final, fiery implosion, a reverse Big Bang where existence ends in fire. Another, perhaps worse possibility is the Big Rip, in which dark energy grows stronger and stronger, tearing galaxies apart, then stars, then planets, and eventually even atoms, ripping apart the very fabric of matter itself, leaving nothing but a formless soup of particles scattered across a shredded space-time. But the most likely fate, according to many scientists, is the heat death, the slowest, cruelest ending imaginable, in which the universe continues to expand forever, stars burn out one by one, galaxies drift apart into eternal isolation, and eventually no new stars are born. Black holes evaporate, atoms decay, and what remains is an endless cold darkness, a universe stretched so far and so empty that nothing ever happens again, a silent void without light, without life, without meaning. To imagine heat death is to imagine the Boötes Void not as an anomaly, but as the destiny of everything, the fate of all, stars and galaxies, the ultimate silence awaiting the cosmos. Each of these endings is terrifying in its own way. The crunch, a violent implosion that erases everything in fire. The rip, a cosmic shredding of all that exists. The heat, death, an eternal cold, empty night with no end. And the most horrifying truth of all is that one of these fates is inevitable. The universe is not immortal. One day it will die. And when it does, all memory, all light, all life will vanish, leaving nothing behind. So when we combine these last three discoveries, a picture emerges that is both awe-inspiring and deeply horrifying. We live in a universe dominated by forces we cannot see or understand, forces that determine everything we know, from the spin of galaxies to the expansion of space-time. Within that universe, even suns are not safe, with some hurled from their homes at impossible speeds, condemned to eternal exile. And above it all hangs the certainty of doom, that one day the universe itself will end in fire, in destruction, or in silence. Dark matter and dark energy show us that we are blind, groping in a cosmos we cannot fully comprehend. Hypervelocity stars show us that even the brightest beacons of stability can be ripped away and cast into loneliness. And the end of the universe shows us that even existence itself is temporary, fragile, and finite. These are not myths, not legends, not nightmares conjured by imagination. These are truths revealed by science, discoveries made by our own instruments, observations written into the very fabric of reality. They are the ultimate cosmic horror stories, not because they are fiction, but because they are real, and they remind us of the humbling, terrifying truth that we live in a universe vast beyond measure, ruled by forces we cannot control, filled with loneliness and exile, and destined one day to end no matter how much light or life we create. And perhaps that is the final, most horrifying thought of all. Not that we are small, not that we are fragile, but that everything we have ever known, everything we have ever built, every memory, every dream, every star, every galaxy, every flicker of light will one day be swallowed by the dark, leaving behind only silence, proof that even the greatest stage of all, the universe itself, cannot escape the inevitability of death.